Right-wing conservatives are having a meltdown over Land of Lakes for becoming too PC. Yes, their butter is now too politically correct. Cue videos of conservatives throwing out piles of butter. Um, Now, this controversy started after Land O'Lakes, the company, quietly removed the Native American mascot off their packages of butter. So there, that certain icon had been there for over 100 years, and they decided in February to get rid of it and change it to what we see here. Just add in farmer owned, right? So to try to say, hey, look, farmer owned, we respect our farmers, especially in this difficult time, et cetera, et cetera. But again, they changed this back in February. So um, now until recently, this hadn't gotten a lot of attention. Then here comes Steve King, and conservative outrage ensues. In fact, he tweeted this back on the 18th of April, quote, "The PC millennials have taken over at Land O'Lakes." And you have other conservatives that have followed. Tom Bazile says, insane. Another company bows to the far left. Hashtag left political correctness mob. Land O'Lakes. What a shame. Now, here's the thing. What outrage from the left? It's butter. Look, I don't speak for everyone on the left, obviously, but I didn't care. I didn't care about this at all. And I think most people didn't. Like, even a lot of conservatives probably didn't care about this. But it only took a few, butthurt words from people like Steve King, who have gotten himself into plenty of trouble before, to now cue the conservative outrage machine, which of course is you've got your speakers on the right that will go and amplify this message, whip people up. And now, again, I'm making butter puns, and I'm not even trying, right? Whip it up with the butter. But you know what I mean. Melting down. Oh, okay. Anyway, continuing, right? It's complete contrived outrage from ridiculous people from the reactionary right. All right. So now, speaking of this reaction, right? Josh Busby on April 16th says, "Kerrygold it is for me now. No more Lando cucks." Joseph Sampson tweets, "You removed the Native American woman as your logo. Our family has removed your butter from our shopping list. Hotel bar butter now resides in our refrigerator." Right. Again, it's people mad for the sake of being mad. Now, look, again, I'm not against them changing this, obviously, but I wasn't for it either. I didn't really care. And if you did, look, if you cared about this, that's fine. Especially if you're, I don't know, a Native American. Then if you actually do care and you're like, hey, that is kind of offensive, like maybe you should, do something about it. Okay, that's fine. You have a right to be outraged, right? But let's be honest. Most people, especially people who look like me, don't really care about Native issues, especially when it matters. Now, I do actually care because there are issues impacting the Native American and the indigenous communities all over the world, right? You have you have problems with representation, you have brutal crackdowns on protests, you have, of course, casual racism. Butter and mascots generally rank kind of low on the things to be concerned about, at least in my humble opinion, and you may disagree with me. Now, Brown University professor Adrienne Keene, now she is a citizen of the Cherokee Nation and author of the Native Appropriations blog, points out how until the right made it a big deal, nobody really cared. Quote, "So the interesting thing about the Land O'Lakes logo is they changed it in February. The stores haven't had the Indian for almost 2 months and no one noticed or cared. Kind of like when it comes to most Native American concerns." Just saying. Of course, there were some fun tweets about this. Um, one person, I don't remember who it was, they said, oh, just like America, they removed the Indian and kept the land. Yep. I mean, accurate AF. But now, getting back to Adrienne King here, she says that she's happy that younger generations won't have to see that mascot every time they buy groceries. Again, I didn't care if it was there or not there. It's just it for me. It's butter. But she feels that Land O'Lakes could have been more introspective when it came to the reason why they removed the icon. She said it could have been a very strong and positive message to have publicly said, "We realized after 100 years that our image was harmful, and so we decided to remove it." In our current cultural moment, that's something people would really respond to. Now, of course, Land O'Lakes changed it, I think, in the way that they did, and it's because they didn't want to emphasize, or I should say, they wanted to emphasize farmers, right, and to avoid right wing blowup. So they're like, we're just going to quietly swap this out. Nobody's really going to care. Oh, look, some people on the right got triggered. Their butter was churned. And so now they're very, very angry. And so what's interesting, too, about this is that there are some that claim to care about, of course, Native Americans and saying, oh, look, some white people got mad about this whole thing. And now you removed a Native American icon from butter. These are the same people that are calling Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas. Not only that, but the same people also ignore issues about tribal sovereignty. And not only that, but they cheer on police and militarized police when they crush, oftentimes brutally crush, pipeline protests. So it seems like they only care when, I don't know, it comes to owning the libs. That's what I get from this. And really, that's where conservative ideology is kind of settled at this point. No substance, no plans, nothing to really make people's lives better. Just a little bit of reactionary whining because, for one, they lost a culture war. And for two, they don't have any other core except for, I like it when you're angry. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.